Welcome to the set of Slither.
I wanted to bring back the over-the-top fun and horror of the 1980s films.
James grew up with these movies.
I love The Fly.
Tremors.
Gremlins. Nightmare on Elm Street.
The Brood.
American Werewolf in London.
Evil Dead.
Critters.
The Toxic Avenger.
The Thing.
Alien.
Halloween.
I enjoy the feeling of being creeped out. I think that's a really fun thing to feel.
He loved this sort of, 80s monster movie.
It's some scary shit.
And that's also why you see throughout the whole movie there's lots of mentions of, nods to other films. I mean, Jack McCready is named after R.J. McCready from The Thing. All the cops have the last names of great directors, and all the shops, the meat that Grant tears open is Brundle's meat, which is, Seth Brundle from The Fly.
Meat.
All the street names everywhere is named after somebody or some character associated with horror films.
He was convinced that this was the movie he was going to make, this was how he was going to make it, and it never veered into arrogance. It was always just certainty.
I'm gonna make one back-to-back joke every day. I remember the night before we started shooting, Paul Brooks said, just have a good time, that's what matters.
I have a few laughs and, realize that, fuck, this ain't a bad way to be earning a living.
And I do say that if I do have one good talent as a director, it's that I choose good people to be around me.
It was always about getting people who could handle the material, be scared, be funny, be both. We found that with this group.
James Gunn has put together a really good cast.
And they're also the funniest group of people I've ever worked with, and that's pretty rare that you're making a gory horror movie, and yet it's the funniest people you've ever worked with.
You know what happens when you're on a movie set and you're having a really good time?
What?
Yeah. Black is up there. We have to do balls real quick.
You just saw my house. It's a real palace, isn't it?
Is this your first nude scene, President James? That's Nathan's thing.
Shut up.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, dude. You got like a...
Michael Rooker was a very cool choice. He's the first guy we cast.
You sent the script to me, I read the script, and it was quite interesting, and it was definitely fun and funny.
I've been a big fan of Rooker's acting for a long time, and I've wanted to cast him in something for as far back as I can remember.
I like people who like me, so he was a big fan, so I said, I'm coming in.
Michael Rooker comes to set every day, and he has this ball of energy.
And he's just a big hulking hulk of a man, and he's out there just ready to have fun, and I'm gonna give it 110%, don't you know?
And to see him have to sit and be very zen and still, I just felt for him. I just knew this guy's kind of in pain, and it can't be comfortable at all.
It's damn right tough.
What you doing back here, honey? Elizabeth Banks came in and read for Starla, and she was one of the first people we auditioned in LA. I nearly got on my knees and bowed.
He told me that he met some waitress in like a Denny's named Starla, and that's who my character's named after.
A lot of actresses, I don't think, got it. And Elizabeth got it right off the bat, and she read, and she was Starla, and I was really overjoyed.
Working with James Gunn, my true love, is a dream job. Isn't it true that you beat me a couple times because you didn't think my performance was up to snuff? Well, I mean, James Gunn is clearly in love with me.
Your performance, so uniformly awful,
Yeah.
is slightly less awful after a good flogging.
I mean, I think that's obvious for anyone to see. Yeah, that's what I said. I have welts on my back. See, I told you, the flogging works. We're madly in love.
Pliers on the toenails.
Oh, that. I can think of some crazy things he can do with himself, but sexual things. I really like when you put the Tabasco and then you suck it back off. That makes me really happy,
Okay,
too.
we're in a really weird area now. Excuse me.
And we got lucky a couple times. I mean, with Tanya Saunier, who plays Kylie, we were planning to go to LA. And we read a whole lot of people from LA to get that role right.
I thought it'd be great. I thought, yeah, it'd be totally something different I've never done before.
When you're doing it every time, your mouth is like more like...
What is that?
That's what your face is making.
Like that?
She's a very unusual actress for someone that age, because they usually act so hard, and I didn't want any acting in the film. I wanted people to be real.
No, they're not my parents. They're trying to trick you. Hey. The worms are in their brains.
I've worked with Greg Henry before, and I'm a fan of his already.
Anybody else eat the fish?
You got a little something right here.
I ate there's a little shellfish.
At the very end of the day, he came in very late, and he read, and he was amazing. I mean, I laughed the whole time.
Goddamn Brenda's exploding like a water balloon. Worms driving my friends around like they're goddamn skin cars. People are spitting acid at me, turning you into cottage cheese, and now there's no fucking goddamn Mr. Pibb.
When I read the movie, I was just giggling and laughing out loud. I mean, I just had such a great time reading. So Nathan had to come busting through the door, and then I was supposed to grab his leg and beg for him to kill me. And he'd been doing that with just the script person or the stand-in. Brian came to me, the first AD, and he was whispering, saying, "We want to put you in this. We want to put you over here, put you in. And they don't know you're going to be there, so everybody be quiet." And this was the first time I'd come on the set with this makeup. It was the first time any of the crew had seen anybody, and it's pretty horrifying, giant growth that's happened here that swells and pulsates and kill me, party, please. I don't know if he was as together in that particular close-up as he wanted to be.
It scared the shit out of me.
I'm sitting in this yard, and over the hill come 36 zombies just crawling over the hill coming at you, and I thought, this is my worst nightmare. And zombies start attacking. What do you do? What's your plan? You got to have a plan. You always have to have a zombie plan.
Nathan was the last person we cast, actually.
Bill Party, the chief.
He doesn't say, "Well, it's time to put on my hero shoes." He says more so, "What was that?"
When he came in and did the reading, he really stole the show. He is Bill Party. He's great. He's exactly like how I imagined him.
James Gunn is a crazy director. This is his way of directing. They're all dead. Action!
Oh, like a bone in pain. Oh. Okay, and action.
And he does it all the time.
Get angry, Grant Monster. Get angry.
I lose it. I just lose it when he does that.
Tell him he doesn't understand how hungry you are.
Huh? I'm thinking of my father.
Yeah. Will you say, "Who's the cocksucker now"?
He was a Shakespearean actor.
No, that's a Shakespearean line. Who's the cocksucker now?
Daddy, I want to be an actor just like you.
Call him a goddamn Republican.
What the heck am I doing here?
When he's yelling things, the corners of his mouth are sneaking up, and he's smiling, thinking that he's really, really funny.
Cut. Okay, great.
The scene I think that's been the most difficult by far so far has been the scene between Starla and Grant at the end of the movie when she basically seduces him and gets him to drop his guard.
And he's gonna swat you here, okay? You're gonna fly back. Yeah, you're gonna run in here. Give him your little smarmy Bill Party. Yep, I'm Bill Party.
Yep.
Tentacle comes by. Bam! Slaps it out of your hand.
Shit.
The tentacle comes up here. Whack. Bam! Be careful because it's real glass. Smash him out through the window.
So much of it is just this technical stuff that it's quite exhausting.
James always wanted to make one of these movies. Not better than the other movies, not, but just his version of it.
He knows the genre very well, and he's a very complete writer.
You have to like the characters. You have to give them a life beyond just being, fodder for death.
I really saw the whole movie as this love story, and I saw it sort of as Beauty and the Beast and a little bit of Fay Ray and King Kong. You've been alone so long, I can't even imagine, I bet. With the tentacles wrapped around me, it always just reminds me of King Kong's hand and her sitting in the hand.
When Elizabeth Banks was doing her speech the other day, I was sitting next to the monitor crying because she was doing such a great job, and I love that character. But I feel for the long one, too. I really like the character of, I like the monster. He's experiencing love for the first time. In billions of years of existence, he's, experiencing love, and he's very lonely.
The Frankenstein monster is in love. He's in love.
Beautiful, isn't it? Again, another scene almost exactly like Terms of Endearment.
Hey gang, I'm Kurt Jackson. I take my job very seriously. I do special effects, and we're gonna teach you gorehounds how to make blood at home. So what we start with is some hot water. If you can do this on the stove, it's even better, but make sure you ask your mom and dad if you're not old enough to use the stove. And we have corn syrup. Now, corn syrup comes in two types. This is the dark stuff, and there's a clear stuff. I go with the dark stuff, then you only have to add a little bit of color. So we're gonna go ahead and add this into our hot water. Comme ça, like this. And this is where you're gonna mix in the consistency. So the less hot water you use, the thicker your blood's gonna be. Great. The other things that I like to add is chocolate syrup, which is any brand, as long as the liquid, and that darkens your color. But I'm gonna add my red first. Remember, add your red a little at a time because it goes a long way. We're gonna put some red in. See, it's going a nice pinky kind of color. There we go. See how it's kind of translucent? It's a bit translucent. We want our blood to really stick to stuff. So we're gonna add some chocolate syrup now. There we go. See how that's darkening up? More like blood, real blood. That's pretty good. I'm just gonna add a little bit more and a little bit more red. And do this to your taste, you know. It doesn't have to be red. It could be yellow. You could be making pus.
I like watery pusses.
You could be making all kinds of stuff. It could be green if you wanted to. But the key ingredient is corn syrup. And you can make it thick as you want. So that's pretty good. We're gonna pour a little bit of that into here. Now this is our homemade blood. This is what we've just made. This is movie blood. Now you can see they've added some other things, some secret ingredients, chemicals in here. I can't put this in my mouth because it's bad. But this is totally safe. Sweet, very good. Now you can do stuff like this. Mom, help, Mom! Remember, have fun with blood. Make it at home. Scare your friends, scare your family. And have fun. Lots of blood, lots of gore. Because we love meat. Meat. And blood. Blood.
I really missed like what the real dirty and grittiness and grime of old prosthetic effects.
Sometimes when you're in the dark movie theater and they do the build-up and the suspense, and you see this creature, if you don't believe it's there, if one little hint says, you know, I was fakely created in the computer, you're kind of not intimately involved anymore.
And even if it doesn't look real, it still is something there that's a work of art in a way.
That boil is going to upstage everything I do. Marks.
John Godesky is our visual effects supervisor, and he's a great guy. He's been a lot of fun to devise tricks with.
We decided, like Todd Masters and I spoke early quite a bit, and we decided that we were going to really make the visual effects and the prosthetic effects work together.
He's not afraid of using practical stuff. In fact, he encourages it.
There's things that just doesn't make sense for him to do because it's very difficult.
And if you're smart, and you can figure out how to key them together like that, you get something that people don't even know what they're looking at.
I'm having a bath.
She's relaxing.
In a bubble bath.
It's been a stressful day.
Parasites, you know, enter the room in the house and I have no idea.
She doesn't see it because she's having a disagreement with her mother.
You're gonna turn into a plum in there.
Prune, Mama.
Plums turn into prunes. I was a prune by the end of the day. I was in this water for so long.
This is the first thing I thought of in this movie. This is what made me want to do it. It was this particular image. Because I thought it was scary and pretty gross.
He told me that, and I was like, wow, okay, this is gonna be fun.
We'll do it once with just this mouthpiece in. Okay. Then we'll do it once without the mouthpiece in, and you try and remember the form the mouth was in.
The parasite is entering my mouth, right? And it's CGI crawls up my back and gets inside. I'm just cracking up because the puppet guy is swinging its tail around, you know, and then I have another one that's not real, that's just my mouth open where the CGI is gonna go. So it's it's really funny.
This is going to be for Kylie's close-up. There are several different versions here. One of it is just just the tail, so it kind of wiggles around and doesn't choke her. The other two are stunt worms. One's actually a bit of a hero worm, but she pulls them out and throws them across the bathroom. These are made from it's a hot melt vinyl. It's really stretchy, really pliable, perfectly safe for in the mouth.
There's a shot in the film where Kylie's in the truck.
I'm in a car and the parasites are swarming it.
It's a really expensive effect to do if you animate it, but if we created animation, just a white on black element of worms that just build and build and build until the screen is black, and then use that as a projected light source through a digital projector, it would almost be free. So if it works well, we'll save money. If it doesn't work well, it was a glorious experiment.
There's been a number of programs I've been involved with where people have had to either take off weight or put some on. But this is that's the fattest lady I've ever seen.
You look like you've been eating a lot of health food lately.
Anytime you make a huge flesh ball that has an opening in it, someone's going to say, that kind of looks like my ex-wife, you know?
She's a whole lot of woman. I don't think that can be denied.
No. Believe me, there's a lot of sick people in the world. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to love this.
At the very beginning, he always said that it had to be this. We all kind of like sketched a bunch of things that were more realistically based. And he really wanted this big ball.
This little head on this giant, James and the Giant Peach, body.
She started out as like kind of a big pregnant beast, right?
And then she got rounder and rounder, and every time we put some kind of fold in her, he said, nope, round.
We kind of almost wanted to design him away from that to kind of bring it more closer to reality. And it really came to this, this bizarre round ball and just very realistically rendered.
I think one direction was she should look like a big pregnant belly with the belly button as an Audi where her head is.
It was a hard design job for the effects guys.
Maybe. It might be an Audi, but you could park a Porsche in her.
Dude, she's right here.
I am not an animal.
What is it? There's something wrong with me?
I'll tell you right now. It's a good script. You should read it. Something's wrong with me.
Something's wrong with me, yeah.
In every movie, as a producer, there's a moment where I feel like we have our movie. And that, for me, was the Brenda moment.
Something's wrong with me.
Yeah. It's like a signature moment, for me.
Brenda came in and auditioned, and I'd been looking for a Brenda for a long, long time, and I couldn't find the right Brenda. And she finally came in, and I was so happy to have her. I got down on my knees and worshipped her. But the problem was that she only read the first scene in the movie before she was cast, correct?
Yes.
Which was a nice little bar pickup scene between her and Grant.
I think that happens a lot, is that, people come in and they think, I'm going to read this part, so I'll just read the scene that I'm reading.
Well, I had to go for a prosthetics test in Los Angeles,
and I didn't have time to really.
What do you think the prosthetics were for?
But I wasn't quite sure. I heard something about an impregnation, and I thought, oh, okay, and I didn't quite know what prosthetics were, which was another problem. So on the airplane, I decided maybe I should read the script and see what I got myself into. And lo and behold, I found myself sobbing in the air uncontrollably the whole way down to Los Angeles, only to find myself encased in a prosthetics makeup chair, which wasn't that much fun either. This particular org that I'm living in right now isn't a lot of fun either.
But you still love me.
Oh, I want to kiss.
The spot up here is where our actress, who's also named Brenda, sits. Forward, leaning on this, head out there, and she just kind of braces herself.
Oh.
There we are. Cool.
Okay, let me get comfortable.
Right here, we've got hand controls tied over there, so if you actually look at close details on the film, you can see that she's grabbing at things. Sometimes she's grabbing for pieces of meat. At the front are all kinds of air tubules that, when controlled by our pneumatics up at the back,
it's like being the Phantom of the Opera.
Make it look like there's slithering creatures inside her, which are the parasites that explode out of her. When she is writhing in pain at the end, we're just sloshing her forward with every single move. It's quite violent. And of course, our actress is in the middle writing away. It's tons of fun for her.
Little fuckers are tearing me apart!
Cut! Are you good?
Yeah.
Great.
It's nice as a filmmaker to see something come out just like you pictured it, because that's what it's all about.
This is very much like what I imagined.
We best get you a hospital right quick. What the hell are they gonna do with her in the hospital, Bill?
This is kind of my favorite scene in the movie. On the page. I think it's just the most unique.
Most of us don't really understand what it takes to build a Grant monster.
Michael, he has a whole transformation.
This last makeup is actually quite abusive.
He's expanded and he's taken over the house. He's literally the man of the house.
He goes through, I want to say, 3 hours of makeup just to get that stuff on, 2 hours just to get it all off.
It was makeup for, I think, 18 and a half, 19 hours.
You guys, you can go have some lunch. I'll be right with you. The first time I tried it, it left me with a kind of a kink in my head.
It's about, I don't know, 30, 60, 80 pounds of makeup on his head.
Oh man, look, all the balance is gone now. Shit. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I've been seeing a masseuse every day after work or before work.
He's a trooper. I mean, the guy is a freaking trooper.
You know what? I've never done anything like this before, so it's new and fresh and fun for one movie, maybe. Yeah.
Much like all the effects on Slither, they're all a work in progress. Even when we get on set, it's still evolving. So
We had the Grant monster, and I changed him.
James will look at something. He's like, oh yeah, you know, this is really cool, but can we see it from this angle? Can we do this?
I'm having a big problem with this, unfortunately, guys.
You know, he would come in and go, that should be there and that should be there, and totally change things.
We've been working on him for 6 months. Now we changed his whole, everything about him in an hour.
That's, again, where our great team has come to play.
Does this look like I'm stabbing him, or does it look too bouncy?
What we initially were going to do is we were going to take this mirror and it was going to stab it in Grant's eye. Now we're going to move it down to this big growth area here.
That's pretty good, actually. That's a good place to do it.
So we're gonna plumb this with blood and pus to ooze out.
This movie's all about the pus. Blood is overrated. We need more pus. "90% of what makes that scene work are the performances of Michael Rooker and Elizabeth Banks. And yet 90% of making it, or more, has to do with where are the fucking tentacles all the time and how are they moving behind her? Are they puppets or are they CGI?
The best way to do it is to mix mediums, to mix practical with digital.
There's things that prosthetics do really well, and there's things that visual effects do really well. And we were going to, right from the planning stage, complement each other.
Sometimes you got physics and, some sort of performance aspects that you're not necessarily going to get at a practical level, or it might be simpler to do on a CG level.
Most of our work on the Grant House monster would be, animating the tentacles, doing various actions, picking up Starla, throwing her against the stereo, throwing her against the bookshelves, throwing the couch at Kylie. He's throwing a lot.
Fortunately, the stuff that CG cannot do is kind of the stuff that practical's really good at, like having something actually physically there on set. Practical.
One of the things that we went to Todd and Dan with was the idea of giving this creature a real biology. I mean, that's what separates a cheesy B monster from something like Alien.
Well, a really cool thing we've been doing on this show is all our tentacles, tubules, and that are basically set up with this clear outer skin.
We wanted to see all those things and see how they work and see the layers and see the organicness of, organics.
That didn't make any sense.
To me, like in nature, nothing is just a static thing that's painted. Everything is in layers. You have your skin layer, your muscles, your blood, and that's where the realism comes from.
The first thing Dan wanted to do, this was great, he wanted to take us all to a like SeaWorld or something like that. I thought that was great.
We looked at a lot of sea creatures at first and like a lot of sea slugs and things like that. We took that and mixed it with this horrifying dermatology book that we had. It's like every possible skin disease in the world.
Well, now that is some fucked up shit.
So we started this database of just organic, weird crap, and we started using it in our designs.
We ended up with a really interesting biology for the Grant monster.
This is a tubule, which there's a lot of confusion throughout the show, people getting tubules and tentacles mixed up. But there's a very big difference.
Did you say tentacle or testicle?
A tentacle is basically what he uses to grab, to squeeze, to kill, and to move around. A tubule is what he uses to impregnate. If you get one of them in you, it doesn't do anything. It'll hurt, but it won't turn you into Brenda. If you get two of them in you, it's like the A and B particles going together, then you swell up and turn into the big slug ball. Very big difference between a tubule and a tentacle.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is a puppeteer rehearsal on one of the front tentacles of the Grant House monster.
The key thing with these tentacles is rigidity, and getting it up in the air is extremely important.
Pretty creepy.
You got to get it up in that position before you can start really waving it around and getting into the sort of motion and the thrust of the scene.
You are seducing her, so you don't want to scare her completely.
I think the most frightening thing that we can bring as puppeteers to this is that if we don't do it well, we're not going to get hired on another tentacle movie. And that in itself is tremendously frightening for most of us.
So it's kind of like, Grant and his little ninja self-defense Secret Service team. They're operating his tentacles, they're operating these tentacles, they're operating his feet. Puppeteers are right there with the creature, and they have that control, and it works really, really well.
Well, most of us are puppeteers from Vancouver that work together a lot. What we get brought in today on a rehearsal day to do is just rehearse the movements that the director and the effects house have worked out and get ourselves ready for the shoot over the next few days.
This is the small of the front two tentacles, so it will be a workout. Action!
But I'll keep growing till I'm everywhere, till I'm all that is.
You can't expect me not to go through some period of adjustment after all these changes. You've done a real nice job decorating, baby.
Cut. Great.
I think we have a very successful tentacle situation back there. The puppet stuff all functions exceptionally well, and when the stuff functions exceptionally well, it's easy to perform it really well, or easier, absolutely, and that's making it really good for us right now.
This movie's more than just an homage to the alien invasion movies of the 80s. It's kind of a bit of a tip of the hat to the makeup effects guys from that period that were just kind of making it up as they went.
But I also hope that the core horror fans get, actually the reverence with which the film was made.
There's probably more bad horror movies than any other genre of film, but there's also a lot of great horror movies.
We're pretty sure we're actually working on one of the best movies. It's just been a really great experience.
I'm in Vancouver, Canada, British Columbia. I'm on my way to the set of James Gunn's Slither. And this gentleman over here is Phil, and he's driving. I'm going to have the privilege of playing the sad drunk, something which I'm well suited for. I would imagine this part was written especially for me. The word about James Gunn, he was assistant director on Romeo and Juliet. He wrote it and also acted in it. And after Romeo and Juliet, a movie promoting incest, James's next career move was to direct the delightful children's classic Scooby-Doo. Oh, he didn't direct it. I'm sorry, he wrote it. He wrote it. And of course, it was the most successful film of the year or the summer. And then Scooby-Doo 2, and then he rewrote Dawn of the Dead and made it his own. Now he's directing his very first movie, Slither. James is one of those guys who's part of the mainstream who's going to be a good influence on the mainstream. He's got that independent, true love of cinema, which he will bring to the mainstream, and be kind of an intellectual sleeping cell of decency within the Hollywood mainstream. Looks like I have a dressing room all to myself here. Look at this. There's a whole stereo system there. I didn't know that. And TV. And looks like a DVD player here. Or I don't know. And stove. I can cook. I got an icebox. Ooh, this is for one line. One line. Closet. But here's an interesting thing. No hangers. No hangers in the closet. However, there's a broom. So I cannot hang my beautiful, very expensive British jacket up. I cannot, but how beautiful. Look at that. In cabinets, a clock. This is nicer than my home. Chairs. And basically I have one line in James's movie. I say, are you doing anything later? But I'm going to add something. I'm going to say, you're very attractive. Are you doing anything later? I'm going to try to stretch my line a little bit, see if I can get a little more screen time. I remember when we did Romeo and Juliet, James would be very strict about the dialogue, especially if it was the lines that he wrote. Now that he's directing, maybe he will give the actors a little bit more leeway. So, are you doing anything later? Because you're very, very attractive. Sad drunk.
Are you
Maybe.
going to hair?
Sorry?
Are you going to hair?
I saw it, but do you think maybe later on you can help me out with the acting a little bit on my part?
Well, if my husband does not direct you properly, I will direct
Well,
you.
maybe before. I'm a little nervous about.
Oh, okay, sure.
When on
sure.
Romeo and Juliet, James would be very upset if you changed the lines.
Oh, he doesn't seem that upset on this.
Because to this day he's hostile to Lemmy because Lemmy changed the lines in Romeo. But so if I add a little extra screen time, you think it'll be all right?
Just keep talking. Don't stop. Don't stop.
All right. So when you have time, maybe you can. Because I'm trying to play it drunk, but I don't know how to.
Yeah, I'll come by your.
Maybe you can help me out. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Bye, Jenna. Bye. I think this is considered a low-budget movie by Hollywood standards. I believe it's somewhere in the $20 million zone, but based on the number of vehicles, it's quite a. Considering Troma usually has one small truck and a couple of rental cars, this is pretty enormous. Imagine what an 80 million. Imagine this is apparently only 20 million US dollars. Imagine what an 80 million, the typical Hollywood budget would be. Where are we headed, Karen? What is this? What's this department? Oh my, hey, it's hair and makeup. Well, this is the look. It looks pretty stylish for a sad drunk. My hair looks kind of chic. If this were a Troma movie, I would be very upset about all this. I don't think I look drunk. I look gay or something. Look at my hair. It looks like it's from some stylist. And then look at the clothing. Look at this. This is the hat that I don't know if I'm supposed to wear this, but I mean, it looks like Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof. I mean, does this look like a sad drunk? This looks pretty chic. It's got a collar, it's sort of suede, and looks pretty elegant. But well, we'll see what happens. Check out the costumes here.
Or what?
What's that? That's a nice shirt you're wearing there. What? Wow, how nice is that?
I love the monster.
Oh, hey, look at the shirt. I saw that in the room.
Are you coming set?
Yeah. How do you like this hair?
I like it. You like it?
I like it.
Yeah, looks good.
Now we have another question though.
Yeah.
Does Shelby wear her headset all the time, even when she's not at the dispatch? Does she just unhook it and walk around with her headset on, or does she?
What do you think?
Well, when I was a receptionist, that's what I did. If I had to go to the bathroom, it was a lot easier to just unhook yourself from the phone.
Yeah, you could do that.
But if it looks confusing, we'll take it off.
Okay, let's see what it looks like.
Okay.
Dan, nice to meet you. This is Lloyd Kaufman, the man who gave me my start.
Oh,
Nice the creator of the Toxic Avenger.
Lloyd, we shared the makeup together.
Yes, we did. Nice to meet you. Playing the sad drunk.
So everybody
Let's go.
right on the other side
so-
here that will take
Yeah. Are you coming? Come to
Oh, whoa, hold on. Do I do my costume?
No, just come like that.
Okay. Okay.
I'll just put it there.
So the set is in here. This is where the set is. And looks like they built the exterior. Very cool.
I can't really see it much.
Can't go that far. I'm looking at it like that. Shelby, that's your area over there. Sad drunk, you'll be here in handcuffs.
Doke.
Actually, I might turn you around.
Here.
Are you nervous on camera?
Guys? Yes.
I'm shy and unaccustomed to the spotlight.
Folks, can I just have a
How is it with James?
He's probably walking right through.
Working with
Tell
James?
us the real James Gunn.
The best way I could describe James is something like a mad genius without the genius. An autistic savant, but without the savant. He's a heavy drinker and a good kisser. And I don't think you can ask much more of a director. Maybe axing too much.
Wow.
Just so you dart for him, and you kind of block him, but walk with him a little bit more, okay? As you're talking to him, but slow him down.
Okay.
And then I want you to get here on when you give him the sort of threat about his job. Right around this area.
Your post is in dire straits.
Yeah,
right there.
you stop. That's where you stop him.
All
Poke
right.
him a little bit.
All right.
Okay. So, you want to go ahead and start?
Can you do approximately the way you want me to do it? The drunk thing, sort of the not drunk thing?
Just try it like yourself.
Oh.
Because you look so messy, and you're in cuffs, so we know that you know, you're doing it, you know, just
what
are you doing lately?
Okay.
You know, and then when you run out at the end, you just run like a human.
Oh, I shouldn't do the. Oh, okay. So just sort of, I shouldn't. Okay. So it's sort of just. What do you do anything later?
Don't even be drunk.
Oh.
Let's see what it's like.